AITA for asking a 47-year-old man who is dating my 22-year-old niece some pointed questions that made him, quote unquote, uncomfortable by you, Marty 100. Some context. I live in California, and my wife's niece wanted to come visit us for a few weeks. She's 22. I've known her since she was 4. Her dad walked out on her family when she was 8. She's very sheltered by her mother. Anyway, I told my wife it was fine with me if she visits. She's a good kid, and our 5-year-old son loves his cousin and really wanted to see her. But then my wife goes, and your niece, she wants to bring her boyfriend. He's 47. I'm 41. My wife is 42. I was like, you're kidding, right? She was not. At first, I was like, hell no. But after about a week of talking, I gave in with one caveat. I told my wife that if this dude is staying in our house, I'm going to ask some questions he might not like. She wanted to know what kind of questions, and I gave her some. How did you guys meet, and who made the first move? If the dude made the first move, it's weird. Has the dude been married? Does he have kids? Why are you, the dude, dating such a young woman? Are you, the dude, aware of the young woman's history with her father? What's the end game here? A serious relationship? Marriage? Have you, the dude, discussed what will happen if the young woman gets pregnant? I know I'm not the girl's father, but no one else in her family is asking these questions. Her mother's fine with the relationship, which boggles my mind. Fast forward to the visit. Niece and old dude show up. I'm cordial. I wait till evening after everything is settled and dinner is over, and I invite the dude to join me on the porch for a beer, just me and him. Then I start asking my questions. After only my second question, the guy starts getting defensive. He told me this is, quote, none of my business. I got a little pissed at that. I told him he's staying in my home for a week. I can ask him a few questions. And the girl is my niece. I'm not out of bounds here. He told me I was making him, quote unquote, uncomfortable. I replied that I'm uncomfortable having a dude who's clearly taking advantage of a young girl stay in my home. I said, you can answer my questions and act like you're a stand-up guy, or feel free to hit the effing road. Well, he left. My wife and niece were upset with me. They said I acted like a jerk, and that if my niece is happy, to let it go. Again, I was told it's none of my business. They've since broken up, which I'm glad about. Not sure if my actions were the cause. So am I an asshole for questioning this guy?
Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. There's a 25-year age difference here.
Yeah.
Is that the math? Wow. That's
and
so big.
That is one thing if you're like in your 30s, but I just think about the person I was at 22, and I was like a fucking immature idiot. I mean, still am. But like even now at 28, I would not date a 22-year-old because they're idiots.
Oh my God.
How can you imagine being 47 and being able to relate to a 22-year-old?
You
Like
can't.
it's fucked up.
How can you relate?
You can't.
You've seen like wars and shit.
Right?
Also, your whole timeline is different. Like your whole trajectory of life, what you're looking to do, and on what, like in what order and with what urgency is so different. Like, she can't live a normal life with this guy.
I think it's so suspect that he's 40 freaking 7. He's older than the aunt and the uncle, and he's dating someone who's 22. Like, I think that's incredibly suspect.
I dated a guy 7 years older than me for a year, and like by the end of that, when I was like 20 or 21, and like by the end of that, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, even that is kind of crazy because you're in college. You like you can maybe drink legally, like maybe not. Like
they can't be a part of your life.
Yeah,
like, you're in such different places. Like this 22-year-old, maybe she just graduated from college.
Yeah, at best.
Right, and then you think about social circles too. I mean, if I was hanging out with my friends who are 30 and they roll up with their girlfriend and they're 20, I'm like, bro, like what is that?
Yeah, and this dude is like could be her dad.
Yeah. Now, listen, I know we're coming hard for this guy, and I feel like I have lost arguments before because I think I'm going to rest on a much more easy version of this and say that it's weird. It's weird.
Definitely weird.
Not inherently wrong. I backed off that in the past. My big point with this is going to be, look, if you're a 47-year-old dating a 20-year-old, maybe you love each other, okay? Maybe she's a prodigy. Maybe she makes beautiful music, makes your heart sing like a butterfly. Though, most of us are going to think you just want to fuck her. That's what most of us are going to think.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
said,
it's just the issue of like, how could you possibly be able to relate to a 22-year-old?
Well, I think it's possible. Implausible, yes. But
then I think it speaks to like your maturity level in a bad way.
He might be immature. He might be immature.
Like 2.5 decades immature.
But where I was going to go with this, like, if you're going to do this weird thing, if you're going to unconventionally do this, then you should be ready to answer questions like this because that's what people are thinking.
Right. Also, except from the the daddy issues question. Like, this is all pretty softball stuff.
Oh yeah, I didn't like the dad. That's a good point. What was that daddy issues?
Like
question?
that was a weird one. Yeah, he didn't get to that one.
Are you the dude aware of the young woman's history with her father?
I guess what he's trying to get out is like, okay, maybe this girl has like some issue with like male figures, and he, the adult, should be like going into this with eyes wide open, kind of, but also like she should tell him. Like, it's not on the uncle to be like, are you aware that she might have daddy issues? But all the other questions are fair. And like, my dad would probably ask worse questions of like someone I was dating, even if they were my age. I mean, like, this is par for the course.
Danny's comedian friends are a little bit monstrous, and they ask like pressing questions about anything all the time.
Right.
They think it's funny or interesting, and like they're mining for material at all points.
Or
so like,
just,
you expect to go to a family member's house, have a 25-year age gap, stay with them, and not be asked a single pointed question.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, that's so weird. He's older than the aunt and uncle. He's staying in their house for free.
So
Like,
weird.
dude, do you have a job?
Yeah, get a hotel. You're 47.
Yeah. Why are you freeloading off this like child's parents?
Yeah, and I think that is, and now that I look at the questions again too, I'm like, these are actually pretty normal questions that I would ask like my brother's girl. Like if my brother had a girlfriend, I'd be like, how'd you guys meet? Who made the first move? Like
that's normal.
That's
literally,
so
we
boring.
just went to dinner with his brother and his brother's new girlfriend, and we're like, how'd you guys meet?
Yeah.
Like,
that's so
give
normal.
us your story. Give us the history. How did this become a thing?
Also, I do want to know in what situation a 47-year-old and a 22-year-old are like meeting and consider it in a romantic context, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, it can happen in lots of ways, but mainly it probably happened
Like
in a really
work?
gross way. Like I was getting my hair done by someone recently, and she was telling me about her boyfriend who was like 20 years older than her, and she was like, yeah, so I grew up around him because it was like my friend's stepdad. And I was like,
no.
Yeah, like you're just doing my hair, so I'm not gonna interject here, but like no. Like
Oh
you
my
should
God.
not. She's like, we've been together for 5 years, and I'm like, that's great that you've been together
How
for a
old
long
is
time.
she now? Sorry, I need to
She's
know.
like, I think 23.
So you were groomed by your friend's stepdad. Oh.
Yeah. And like that's just incorrect. And like that seems like the only way that this can happen is something
That's
gross like that.
Such a yikes.
Don S writes, YTA, it's none of your effing business unless your cousin chooses to make it your business or the man does something abusive.
Your cousin did choose. She's staying with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
She
that's
chose,
a very good point.
She
now.
chose to make it your business.
Also-
she brought the chicken into the coop.
That's
you know
so
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah, I also really resent that it's like not your family's job to step in unless your loved one is being abused or doing something illegal. Like that's just plain wrong. You should look out for people even before it gets to like a very critical point.
Well,
so
and
much harder to leave
just
them.
to counter that a little bit, let me just try to fight you guys with this.
Okay.
This is just him, a man, trying to control women. She's 22. She has a right to date who she wants, Sarah.
He does. He's not trying to control. He's just trying to probe. And I think that's fair to just try to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, but he's
He's not
her
saying you
uncomfortable.
can't.
It was an interrogation.
So,
She wasn't there. She made the guy uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, but he's really manipulating him, right? And that's affecting her life and her behavior. He's trying to control women in a sense, right?
I mean, I think
No.
he's trying to control a child or a family member. And I think that can obviously be destructive. Like there should be limits to family. But like I think for all the reasons we've talked about already, this is a situation where you want your family member to step in and be a little bit
guys, he's not
controlling.
trying to control. He's not. First of all, he let him stay in the house. He's not saying you can't date him. He's not saying you can't bring him
Yeah,
around.
But
It reminds me of like that situation where the guy like cheated on the guy's sister and like the OP kind of called him
Oh,
an
I love that
asshole
one.
and the guy ran away. Like this kind of reminds me of that too, because the fact that this guy ran away immediately is also kind of indicative to me.
tells the whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And
the
it's
relationship
not the
couldn't
uncle's
handle.
fault. I don't think the uncle's trying to control anything. He's just trying to get like kind of suss out what's going on here.
Well, I mean, I don't totally agree with that because I think if like she was 35 dating a 47-year-old or whatever, 31,
Yeah.
it's still a little weird.
Even
right?
like 25 or like 27, I think would even be a little bit
It's
more.
a little backhanded and weird. I think there would be a place where it would be inappropriate. I think age is a factor, and I've said this before. Like
Yeah.
a 25-year-old man is essentially a boy a lot of the time, and and like we were just saying, like a 22-year-old's fresh out of college, like they just started, started adulting, if I may.
Right. It's not even necessarily age. It's just like life experience.
Yeah. Brittany S writes, YTA, your niece is an adult, a consenting one at that. 22 is old enough to make her own choices in dating.
Sure, but you could be making bad choices.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like, okay, so she can legally have sex with this guy and he can legally ask him questions.
Right. This is not, am I doing something illegal? Like, that's not the point of this.
IVE says YTA. Wow, a lot of YTAs. Maybe she just
See, this is the theme of the episode. I'm like, are you guys serious?
Shocking.
And it's all women.
Maybe she just wanted a mature man to date. Oh boy. A lot of men in their 20s are still teenagers in mentality. You should have spoken with her and allowed her to voice why she was with him if you were so concerned.
I don't disagree that he should have spoken to the niece, but also I think when you're 22 dating a 47-year-old, you probably think you're really cool and mature, and you would just get a kind of response like, oh, you don't understand, you know?
It also would have felt more like an attack. I feel like what this guy described is they had dinner, it was all cool, they got some beers, they went out back, they're sitting, they're chatting, they chat about Star Wars or whatever, and then suddenly he's like, oh, like, so how'd you meet my niece? Like, tell me the story. You know, like, I felt like this seemed pretty chill.
Yeah, you're
like,
right.
not an interrogation. Whereas if he had spoken to the niece, it would have felt a lot more aggressive. This felt like a very mild approach to getting at these issues that was clearly, like, overreacted to because this guy was guilty of something.
Right. So and also because I, like, totally agree with what you're saying, because the boyfriend and the uncle are peers. Like, it's appropriate, I think, to do that.
That's well put. Yeah, I guess so. My question for you guys: would it have been kinder to the niece had the 42-year-old guy like been like, "Hey, just so you know, niece, if you bring this guy into my house, like, I'm gonna ask some questions you may not like." Would that have been more fair?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what their relationship is. Like, I would expect that with anyone that I bring home, with my family, you know.
Was literally about to say that. Like, the disclaimer, I would have to give that disclaimer at all times to everyone. Like, my family is just gonna get in your shit.
But like, I also feel like that's like, don't most people kind of know that? Like, this is a common, like, this is a dating stereotype. Like, people know this. Like, your family's obviously gonna ask questions to get to know you.
Yeah, unless they just have no interest, like my family with Danny.
Ouch.
Ouchie. I'm telling you, people. It's a real thing.
You can cut that.
No, we're not cutting. Those are unedited. I'm not doing a bunch of work to protect your family. Listen, Meg P writes, 22 is old enough to know what you want in a partner. You don't respect women and their choices. Oh my God, Sarah, somebody really said that.
I know. That's why I included that.
Oh no.
I hate this.
Nicole F. NTA. Thank God, someone.
I know.
We really have to watch out for each other, especially the ones we love. I see no disrespect here, and we should all be able to answer these questions. I think that's very fair.
Yeah, I just included a couple other NTAs just to give you guys some sanity, but we don't have to read them all if it's too much.
Yeah, well, no, people are, lady also saying, why can't he put himself up in a hotel room? Very valid.
Yeah, valid point. And we'll find out why, because there was a juicy update.
Yes. First, we'll read the top Reddit comment real quick by Giovanni's Guillotine. One of my favorite.
Love it.
That might be the best of all time. I love it. NTA, yes, she's an adult. Yes, she can do what she wants, but she clearly has daddy issues. Oh, okay. And the guy's taking advantage of that vulnerability. With an age gap like this, it's hard for there not to be a power imbalance, which can be hard for someone at 22 with little experience with relationships and adult life, as it's all pretty new. Asking some pointed questions while the man was staying in your house seems fair enough to me, as long as you weren't being too accusatory. That it quickly became defensive may be telling.
I think this guy went too hard with the daddy issues and the vulnerability thing. Like, he might not be a predator, but I do agree with the power imbalance comment.
Yeah, this guy could use some editing to the comment, but in general,
yeah,
correct.
I agree with the sentiment.
I mean, I'm kind of curious, where do we land on daddy issues? So the concept of daddy issues is like your dad is shitty, and so therefore you pursue dad-like figures.
Correct.
Is that kind of the idea?
Because you are seeking approval from like an older male figure because you didn't get it from your own father.
Oh, interesting. And I mean, I guess it's kind of a thing. Is there any science here?
I mean, I don't know, like Oedipus complex or whatever. Electra complex, which one?
Oh, the Electra complex? What's the Electra complex? I thought Oedipus was you want to kill your father and marry your mother.
Yeah, so Electra complex is the same, but for women.
Interesting. You want to kill your father.
Kill your mother.
Kill your mother.
It's basically like you want to fuck your mom, you want to fuck your dad.
Whoo,
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a psychologist.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I've seen it before. Daddy issues.
Yeah.
You hear about it. Daddy issues are strippers. There's all these kind of concepts. They ring true. I'm just being honest. They are stereotypes. Is all.
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, there's truth to like every stereotype. You know, like some people will fit any stereotype.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just wondering. I mean, look, I think we talked about this before. Like, yeah, who wouldn't want to date an older man? I would if I was into that shit. That'd be great. He's like rich and shit and all established.
Well,
in his
clearly this
career.
guy isn't rich. Or
Yeah,
not
right?
this guy. Yeah, this guy sounds like he's shit. Yeah, if he was 47 and they were balling out in the Four Seasons, then you'd be like, well, sure. I mean, she's just playing the game.
I'm so proud you know what the Four Seasons is. I've taught you well.
Yeah, you've taught me a lot. All right. Mainly taught me what zero looks like in my checking account. All right, people. So this post got updated. Oh, boy.
Woo!
It was edited. Some of you wondered if I would accept any of the dude's answers to my questions. Of course, all he had to be was respectful and honest in answering, and I wouldn't have a problem. Talked to my niece this morning. She and I are totally fine. Knew my actions came from wanting to keep her safe. I apologize regardless. Asked why they broke up. The guy was actually cheating on his wife. He confessed it to her and said he would get a divorce for her. He has 3 kids, all her age or older.
Her age or older! Ah! Also, if you trace it back, after the second question is when the guy started getting defensive. The second question was, have you been married? Do you have kids?
Wow, nice backtrace.
Thank you.
Freaking CSI over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I feel really good about going through this because I do sometimes feel like I'm ageist and I'm like a 35-year-old man with a 25-year-old, he's a pervert. And it's like, not necessarily. There could be good reasons, but I think these people should expect questions.
Yeah, I also would feel the same way if the genders were reversed. It's like, It's not age, it's like life experience again.
It's odd. Like, isn't it okay if you're a little odd to answer a few questions? I'm a little odd. People are like, why do you talk with these weird inflections? I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a personality, so I just oversell nothing. I think we all agree. No questions here. AITA for asking a 47-year-old man who's dating my 22-year-old niece some questions. We all agree. NTA and the other person is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an overreaction, so we get to say that the boyfriend's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Or the ex-boyfriend. Thank God.
Thank God.